Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to call to order the work session meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for May 5th, 2022, to order at 7:01 p.m. On roll call, we have council members Ballestieri. Here. Dennis. Here. Golovic. Here. Pellegrin.
Here.
Sheridan.
Here.
Council President Fasolo.
Here.
Mayor Coletti.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Sinead.
You're welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our action items meeting, which is a new term for me. But in any case, let's get started. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey require at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now, therefore, be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing a special meeting notice in the Record and Herald News and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building, and also by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted and transmitted on January 8th, 2022, and published on January 11th, 2022. Ms. Morris?
Okay, first on the agenda, we have ordinances on first reading. The first one is Resolution R-178-22. Introduce Ordinance 22-14 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Fix the Salary, Wage, and Compensation of the Officers, Employees, and Servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey for the year 2022, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, May 19th, 2022 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law."
Mr. Graffi, would you mind breaking that down for us?
Yes, this particular ordinance is for the purposes of accepting,
Sal, you want to put that speaker on so they could hear you?
it's for the purposes of adopting the salary ordinance. Without a salary ordinance, the employees or the staff of the municipality would not be able to get paid. Without this, there is no budget, and without the budget, there's no payments. So it's very important that it gets.
I would think so. We wouldn't want them people not to get paid. I don't think they would appreciate that too much. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Fasolo, second by Pellegrin. On roll call, we have council members Ballestieri.
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Golovic.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Fasolo.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution R-179-22. Introduce ordinance number 22-15 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled Capital Ordinance of the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, authorizing various upgrades to the pump station at the Gilbert Avenue well field in by and for the water utility of the borough, appropriating therefore the sum of $200,000 and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the water utility capital improvement fund of the borough, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, May 19th, 2022 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any person interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
I believe that was self-explanatory. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is the Gilbert one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm good.
Anyone else care to discuss? If not, call the roll, please.
First by Pellegrin, second by Fasolo. On roll call, we have council members Ballestieri.
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Golovic.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Council President Fasolo.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now we have Resolution R-180-22. Introduce ordinance number 22-16 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Making of Various Public Improvements in the Acquisition of New Additional or Replacement Equipment and Machinery, New Communication and Signal Systems Equipment, and new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,156,500 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate Borough Trust Fund monies, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, May 19th, 2022, at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Mr. Graffia, would you like to break that down, please?
Mayor, yes, Mayor and Council, this particular bonding ordinance is for the purposes of adding sweeper, street sweeper apparatuses, as well as acquiring radios for the fire department, which are desperately needed because they had reported to us and the council that their radios at this particular time are so outdated that they will not be able to utilize them anymore in a few more months or a period of time, and therefore it is important for them to be able to communicate. Also, with regards to playground equipment that needs to be upgraded in order to protect the children from any injuries, as well as cameras to be placed in certain streets for security purposes, as well as addition to the AMS building, which is the ambulance corps building, an upgrade in order to maintain the height and have the officers put in order to continue with the service, which I think has been done, has been working very, very well at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Graffia. Basically, what goes on here is these are items that are outside of our budget that are necessary to keep our town running proficiently. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. While I wholeheartedly support most of these things, I wholeheartedly oppose the way we went about it. I think bonding $1.2 million requires more than 25 minutes discussion at the tail end of a 5-hour meeting. I was hoping that we'd be able to discuss these things some more.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
First by Fasolo, second by Pellegrin. On roll call, we have Council Members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Dennis, Golombek,
No.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sheridan,
Yes.
Council President Fasolo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I believe that concludes our non-action items, or action items, I should say. And I'll segue right into our normal work meeting. Would anyone from the public like to be heard? Please state your
Mayor,
name.
point of order.
I'm sorry?
Point of order. Aren't our work sessions conducted in the back room?
Not necessarily.
Did we not make a decision as a governing body that our work sessions are in the back room?
Yes, we did. However, we're out here already. Do you want to disrupt this moment? Get up and go into the rear room?
I'm just making one point, that we made a decision as a governing body that that's our meeting room. You're acknowledging that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll go with the flow, but this has to be corrected. When the governing body makes a decision that something goes a certain way, however the votes go, that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know why we just depart from it when we feel like it.
Well, logic would state, we're sitting here right now, all through COVID, we had all our meetings here in this arena, if you will, and it would seem, why disturb everybody, cause a momentary delay in the meeting, and move everybody to the back room. That was the logic behind it.
But was it brought to the attention of the council people that were staying here? If we all agreed to it, then I would say no problem.
Well, I guess in order for that to happen, we would have had to call everybody prior to this.
So I sent out an email to let you know that the action
Put
items,
your mic on, please.
I sent out an email stating that the action items did need to be heard in the council chambers because it does have to be on recording for the video to be placed online. Nobody responded to say if they wanted to move the non-action items to the caucus room, but it's up to you guys.
If you'd like, we'll go to the rear room. State your case.
It's the principle. I don't care. We're here, but it's the principle. We have a form of government. Council makes a decision unless otherwise it should be followed.
Daniel, we
I
don't
don't
need you,
understand.
we don't need you preaching. Do you want to go to the
Listen,
rear room?
can I say something? We're
Yes,
here,
absolutely.
we're here now, let's just stay here, and for future, when we have action items, we'll do the action items, and then let's all know that we'll go into the back room, moving forward, so we don't have to go through this again. Fair enough?
Sounds like a compromise.
If everyone's okay with that.
Would it, okay, are we clear to continue? Anyone from the public care to speak on any item they'd like? Yes, sir. State your name and your address, serial number, firstborn, all that good stuff.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Oswald, 34 Phillip Avenue. I first actually decided to come here because sometimes citizens and voters come to these council meetings just to complain about stuff. But the last time I came here, I brought up the problem, and now I'm here, and the problem was fixed, and I wanted to thank whoever may have been a part of that. The intersection with the sidewalks all torn up that I brought up the last time I was here has since been repaired in excess of what I thought would be done, so I very much appreciate perhaps Mr. Foligno was here before. He had mentioned he would look into it personally, so despite him not being there, I'd like to go on the record and saying thank you to whomever made that move forward. Be that as it may, I do have another thing I would like to see the council address. I have in-laws that often watch my one-year-old son on Mola Boulevard, a road we all know to be heavily trafficked, where people get very angry if you slow down to make a turn and then they go around you and such things like that. In front of my in-laws' house is a bus stop, and while there is not a problem specifically with the bus stop, there is a pedestrian safety aspect. Not my own personal issues. My son actually loves buses. He loves watching them go by. He makes us go outside in the yard to watch them go by. And sometimes the bus driver honks the horn for him. It's really cute. But just 100 or so feet back at the Artesian Fields, there is crossing guards, there's crosswalks, there's shade, there's benches, there's plenty of open space. There's no residential areas or commercial areas that can be bothered by the noise of a bus screeching to a halt or cars swinging around other vehicles because they don't want to slow down when someone needs to make a turn on Gilbert Ave. Or in any respect, the corner of Mola and Phillip is just that, just a corner. It's not very nice for people to sit there. Sometimes trash accumulates. It's not a huge issue, just saying that pedestrian safety and just the fact that it can be moved with an ordinance resolution by this council. I've already spoken to a friend of mine who's on the Board of Governors with NJ Transit, and he informed me that it would be as simple as this council passing a resolution, and that they would take care of it and work with the council in any way to move the bus stop, especially because they also agree that in the interest of pedestrian safety, a bus stop moved just 100 or so feet back to the Artesian Fields would be a much better issue for the public. And yes, it does make me feel a little bit safer knowing that there won't be cars looking around for my son who tries to catch the bus. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I really hope that I can stay in contact with somebody and that this can be happened this year. Considering how fast the last thing got done, I hope I'm not reaching too far.
We will convey that message to our chief, who in turn will bring his traffic specialists in and see exactly if your contention is correct. There might be a reason that they know of or will find out about that it might not, but we definitely, we're on it. Let me put it that way.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you.
What's the address?
Well, it's currently in front of 262 Mola Boulevard. I have the bus stop number on my phone, but I don't want to waste your time going through the pictures. But it is just right there, and people that I've spoken to would not mind at all having a shaded spot to wait in for the bus, especially as the summer's coming along. And, you know, it's right in front of people's homes. some are older folk who just like to sit on their lawn and watch things go by. And it would just be a little nicer at the bus stop and less of, hearing range and such things like that too. But like I said, Kazim Field's a great spot for it, and I love the neighborhood, and I really appreciate the.
You want to give me your name and phone number so that I can...
Yes, Joseph Oswald, OSWALD, and the phone number is 609-498-8699. 609, I'm from South Jersey.
I'm sorry,
498.
498?
609-498-8699.
8690. Okay.
99.
99.
8699.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public here to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. I was just back here, my name is Linda Solana. How are you all? Good evening. I was just touching base with Mayor and Council about the micro-business amendment to the ordinance. Has there been anything coming up on that yet?
Sal,
Mayor, I
please.
can address that if
Yeah,
you'd
please.
like. The Cannabis Board in the Borough of Elmer Park has considered the micro business licensing as well as conditional licensing. They're recommending an approval and amendment to the ordinance to extend licensing for those operations. So there's going to be an adoption of an ordinance proposed to include those two types of operations in the borough.
Do you know when you're going to be accepting applications for the micro-business ordinance?
Sal, if I may,
Sure.
we haven't come to that conclusion yet as far as a certainty on that. Correct?
Well, Mayor, you can't take any applications until the ordinance is passed.
Okay.
So once you have the two readings requirement of the amendment to the ordinance, then that's where potentially an application could be
Okay.
started to be considered.
Do you know how to find that out?
Oh, it'll be published, I can guarantee you, yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else care to speak? If not, I'll close the public portion. Shanae?
Okay, so first item on our non-action agenda is the engineer's report.
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Going through the report from April 28th, just going to hit the highlights. The Veterans Memorial, we did have the statue awarded, so they are in process of getting some sketches together. We also coordinated with the consultant for the 2019 DOT project. They were able to fit curb and sidewalk in front of the memorial property into that grant because apparently the grant was more than the contract amount, or the bid amount for the contract, so we were able to get some curb and sidewalk, brand new curb and sidewalk all the way around the memorial piece. Borough Road Program, I'm looking to, this isn't highlighted there, but I'm looking to award that at the June meeting, so that bid will be going out. The Borough Park Band Shell, we did have our pre-construction meeting. Contracts are signed, and we're currently going to shop drawing review. The PSC&G curbs.
Excuse me, Tom?
Sorry.
On the band shell expansion, 429, now in order, I believe the first concert's July 5th or thereabouts. So that contractor's going to have to definitely guarantee us that he'd get that job done, weather permitting, naturally.
He anticipates doing that, and Mr. Warren was at that meeting, and we were coordinating, access, security, so on and so forth, to make sure that, we'll be able to get that project done without disturbing any events at the band shell or at the field.
Excellent.
PSC&G curbs, that work is essentially done. We just got to make sure the punch list items are taken care of. So that's, again, pretty much complete. The basketball court upgrades, as I understand it, they finished the coating on the borough field court today. And that's the last thing to be completed. We had to wait for consistent weather above 50 degrees, which took us a while to get to this year. But that is, just has to be cured, and they suggested we stay off until Tuesday. PSE&G paving coordination, we finalized the paving from PSE&G. Council may recall, we took credits for we had a situation where they were half paving roads, which is typically not a good idea because then you never have a road that's completely right. So we took some of the half paved roads and made them pave either a road curb to curb or not at all. So that took some coordination. We're taking care of that. Plus now that the curb work is done, that curb work was specifically done on PSC&G roads that were going to be paved so that the curbs will be ready for them. I believe they're going to be starting in the next week or two to do their roads. Going down to the marina, I did provide an estimate, our current estimate to Mr. Feligno on that. The next item there would be to meet and go over the plan to see if anything wants to be added or removed or changed. Continuing down,
Which, as far as the marina goes, we're staying within the budget of the piggyback grants. Is that correct?
I guess that's the desire. You know, I believe the estimate was under that 750, so I think we'll be okay.
We're in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
That plan is being prepared. Again, we have to get DEP permits for that because we're in the floodway of the river. So once we get that taken care of, we'll be able to go forward. Because we're in the floodway, just for definition, the floodway is the most critical portion of a watercourse that the DEP will not allow you to do certain things in. The flood plain is basically whatever floods in a 100-year event, but the floodway is that primary channel. And unfortunately, the parking area, the marina is in that floodway, so we do have some restrictions on what we're allowed to do.
Tom, with the grants we're getting for the boulevard, pursuant to the lighting, are we still actively seeking that?
The lighting?
The lighting?
Yeah, the lighting there was a grant there, and we submitted a proposal a while back, and it seems to be kind of, Ms. Morris and I were speaking this afternoon, or communicating rather, and I guess for some reason our proposal wasn't authorized yet officially. So once we get that taken care of, we'll jump in and get the lights done.
I see. My concern was where the conduit of the lighting, what path is that going to take?
It's going to be it's going to be just behind the curb.
Behind the curb?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a tracer wire that goes over it so it can be detected in case somebody's digging. There's also, they backfill it with a particular sand so that if someone's digging and all of a sudden they come up with clean sand, logic would suggest they say, hey, there's something here, because you'd never find this kind of sand,
Okay, what happens when you reach a driveway? You have that, between the curb and the sidewalk, you have that space.
We take the apron up, put the conduit in, put the tracer wire in, and then put the apron back.
Okay, the apron goes right to the sidewalk, which
The
also...
apron's between the curb and the sidewalk.
Right. And that also encompasses the 2 foot in between the curb and the sidewalk.
Right.
Gotcha.
Going down to the Fleischer Brook issue, 545 Mola. Mr. Ingraffi and I spent a lot of time on this. We had title search done. I spoke with the county to see if there was anything else that they had, if there were any funding available, and basically the conclusion was that the property owner is responsible and that there's really no grant money that would be available for that work to a private property owner.
So the onus is on the property owner then?
With that in mind, Mayor, I'm in the process of getting the name and the address if there is property owner, whether it's occupant or non-occupant, in order to send them an advisory letter advising them that they're responsible for that wall.
Yeah. Okay.
To go into proposals, again, we just spoke of the Grove Street, the 2021 DOT is going to be submitted in November. We also submitted a proposal for the turf field at Borough Park and the EMS building addition. And so we're just waiting for responses on those. The one item I'm seeing here that did not get moved was the 2020 and 2021 CDBG road improvement projects. That was awarded to us, and that is under final QA/QC review. We should be able to have that bid out and ready for award at the June regular meeting also. So you'll have the 2021 road program and the CDBG bids to be awarded at the June meeting, is what we're going for. So we have those two under construction. By then, hopefully PSE&G will be out of here, and we won't have too much going on in the town that gets too, where it would get too cluttered with construction. That's all I have.
Any questions by the council to our engineer? All right, thank you, Tom.
Thank you, everyone.
Johnny Carson's at 10 o'clock. Hopefully I'll get to watch it.
Just to go back to item 1A, current estimate number 2, change order number 1 for the basketball court improvements. Any discussions or questions? Okay. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Have a good night, everyone.
Too. Moving on to our correspondence section, item 2A, we have a request for donation from the AARP of Elmwood Park.
I don't know if the council had an opportunity to read that letter, but I do know in the past, prior to COVID-19, and there was 2 years I wasn't here, so I don't know what went on at that point, but we had, for all the senior groups, a stipend that the town would give these organizations to help them out in their rental obligations, etc. I know we have about $20,000 in the budget for such items, and I'll leave it like that with you folks.
If I remember correctly, the auditor, Mr. Rigatano, told us we could not do this. I don't remember why or when this went down, but I think that's why it stopped. I don't remember the year. I just remember this coming up and being told that for whatever, I would check with those two professionals, you know.
Yeah. I
Right.
also remember something to that effect, because we didn't want to take it away from the organization. So maybe check with Mr. Rigatano and see why we put an end to that. If we could restart it, that would be great, but.
Sinead,
Right,
you
I-
did check with him, right?
I talked to him earlier
Oh.
today, and he said that it was okay that we have the funds for it. I'm not sure if it needed to be like a donation from an organization like the RAP program or the police. Like, it can't come directly from the mayor and council. But it wasn't, not the mayor and council, but from the budget. But that's what he said. I mean, if you have any questions, I will definitely check with Roy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not 100%, but when I did run it by him, he said that it was okay. So I put it on the agenda.
So explain to him that the council has some questions about the validity of it, and I guess at our next meeting, we could discuss it.
Okay.
Is that fair enough, council?
Yeah.
Okay, so next we have item 2B, which is an NJ DOT grant opportunity. The deadline for the application submission is July 1st. I'm not sure if Sal, did you want to explain a little bit?
With that, Mayor and Council, is that the state always has these grant monies available. There are opportunities to look into the grant projects that they're allowing, and I don't think there should be a reason to miss an opportunity to get any kind of grant. It is my understanding that the grants that are out there right now are to do with streets, infrastructure, playgrounds, and so forth. So I would think that it would behoove the council to take action and move on these kind of grants, it's advantageous at this time.
So basically, you're asking our permission to seek this grant?
Yes.
I don't think we have a problem with that. No?
Okay,
Shanae?
all right. Next, we have resolutions. Item 3A, road opening performance bond resolution. Any questions or discussions? Okay, then we have our summer concert series.
Council, you had discussion on the groups and the groups that are available, been going on between our BA and the producer. And basically, what you see is what we can get and stay within our budget.
Well, it's well worth it, Mayor. Our residents love this so much, and it's such a great thing we have, and every year it gets bigger and better. So I think they're going to be really happy again.
Yeah. And we have an advantage with the producer being a person who lived here for many years. And this is, even though he's in Florida now, but his heart still belongs to Elmwood Park, and we get the benefit of that in terms of the groups that he can get at certain times and for a certain price. So I think we're doing good in that area.
And Mayor, if I may, on behalf of the BA, I think that if he was here, he would probably say the same thing. It's been in such a successful events in the past that he would probably also recommend it.
Thank you, Sal.
And I'm recommending it. So I don't know what that means.
Okay, our next item is item number 3C, vacation buyback for the DPW. Any questions or discussions? No? Okay, next we have our budget cap resolution. It's a cap for relief. If Sal would like to explain further.
Yes, please,
Well, I mean,
Mr. Graffia.
with this particular resolution is a resolution which the council is forwarding or will be forwarding once it's adopted to requests from the legislature and to increase the cap on our budget. Usually a municipal budget is capped at 2%. However, because of COVID, insurance companies have come to the point that they are trying to make up for expenses that they've incurred, so they're going to be increasing the premiums. But at this time, they don't know what those premiums will be. So therefore, this resolution is to join with many other municipalities to request from the legislature for the legislature to increase an exemption to the 2% cap solely to make up for any increase in insurance premiums. And I think this is very viable because if we do not have that occurring, then the municipality is going to be in pretty bad shape with regards to insurance, because they may not be able to pay for the insurance premium to have coverage. So it's a good thing to send to the legislature to make them move in order to accommodate the municipalities.
So basically, it's anticipation within the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Shaney?
Okay, yes. Okay, so our next item is item number 3E, the hiring of a part-time records clerk.
We all know that we lost our dear friend and colleague, George Luke, recently, and this basically is his replacement.
Okay. Next item is item number 3F, and that is financial advisory services, an RFQ that is proposed by our attorney.
Mr. Ingraffia?
With that, Mayor and Council, is that because of the redevelopment that we've been having and all the applications that are coming forward and all of the redevelopment, redesignations that we're doing, it behooves the Mayor and Council to have readily available a financial consultant which analyzes the financial aspects of a redevelopment, a classification, and gives us a better understanding of the pros and cons and the financial benefits and detriments of a particular development. This is a crucial aspect for a redevelopment board and for redevelopment councils, as well as anyone who wants to redevelop an area for developers. And this cost eventually is passed on to the development. So it's not a cost to the borough.
Did the council get that? This is paid for by the developer. If I may piggyback, Sal,
Sure.
my concerns in the discussions with the prospective developers, when they're laying out their plans, they laid out their pilot, and a red flag went up, and then they explained it, and it showed from their consideration that it was very beneficial for the town to do the pilot. They also showed numbers of revenue that will be coming in. So at that point, we naturally took their proposal, but I think it behooves us, as Sal has said here earlier, that we have an independent study of that to make sure that those items are going to benefit the town. And I think this is a good move on the part of the council. Any discussion on that? Shani?
Okay, so I can, this thing keeps going out. I don't know why my mic isn't working. Okay, here it goes.
Hello.
All right, I
Where
will,
you been?
I'll put out the RFQ for this. Next, we have item 3G, which is a third-party tax lien. Any questions or discussions? Okay, item 3H, appoint special legal counsel. Any questions or discussions?
Mr. Ingraffia, would you?
Again, Mayor, this is again, and we had appointed Mr. Olampi as special counsel. Apparently, he was not, we weren't quick enough to reappoint him again at the onset of our reorganizational meeting, but he's been doing work on redevelopment areas, and also he's going to be having a couple of more projects coming forward, and we just realized that he was not been reappointed yet, so this is just a matter of reappointing him again.
Yeah. Once again, counsel, this is a special counsel for these redevelopment situations that we're in. He is a specialist in that area, and he advises us from our angle how it would benefit us or not. And once again, it's at the cost of the developer. Is that correct, Sal?
Yes.
Okay. Next, item 3I, Fire Department first quarter stipend. Any questions or discussions? Okay, then we have item 3J, retirement compensation. Any questions or discussions? Item 3K, redevelopment investigation study. You should have two resolutions. We'll propose resolutions in front of you. Any questions or discussions?
Mr. Ingraffia?
Again, Mayor and Council, this is an appointment for the planner to be hired to investigate and present a plan for a particular piece of property which has been brought up to the attention of the council to be considered for a redevelopment aspect. Next, attached to that is an actual resolution which, once the study is done, to have the matter sent over to the planning board for consideration. And this, again, has been prepared by Mr. Lampe, working without being reappointed. No.
I guess this rounds the whole scenario out of having the planner who is working on our behalf and suggesting things what we should do in these particular situations.
Okay. Next, we have ordinances, well, proposed ordinances. First, we have item 4A, proposed electric vehicle parking.
Now, this is another ordinance which I've had the pleasure of putting together, just like the cannabis one, and again, it's painstaking event, but has to be done for the borough to take advantage of the upcoming potential monies and funds that are going to be made available for electric vehicles. It is a very thorough ordinance. However, I want you to note that within the ordinance, there are areas, and if you look at towards the page to the last, there is an area where it talks about usage fees. Now, that's something which I'm leaving open in the ordinance. However, the ordinance itself will designate that the council at any time during and the course of the adoption or after the adoption of the ordinance can actually, by resolution, establish guidelines with regards to both the existence of where to put these charging stations, delineating areas within the town, and also delineating charges for both parking, usage, and kilowatts use. It's going to be something very interesting to see, but it's been adopted by many other towns, mostly in Jersey City it's been done. Some of the other bigger towns have done it. But they've taken advantage of grants and monies which the state has issued in order to help the municipalities create these workstations and charging stations, as well as public service. Public service has been giving funds in order to promote these charging stations and discounts on electricity and so forth. So I would think that again, it's an interest of the borough to already have something in place so that it can take advantage of the future and as well as take advantage of funds that could be available.
Thank you, Sal.
Thanks. Okay. Any other questions or discussions? So we can add this ordinance on to the next meeting. Okay. Next, we have item 4B. There's no backup, but it's an amendment to the cannabis ordinance.
Again, Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance which is attempting to address certain changes that have occurred in the state with regards to cannabis. At times in the beginning when I created the ordinance, some of these things were not even mentioned by the state nor by anyone. But in the days to come afterwards, all of these things started popping up. One of which is conditional licensing, which our ordinance I never even thought of because there was no thought of it. And also micro usage and businesses, which are smaller versions of distributions, which are done by smaller groups rather than large groups. These are things that now the state has begun to approve, adopt, and we have to, again, amend our ordinance to counteract and comply with the state. Again, there is a suggestion, I believe, from the Cannabis Board that eventually you will get the ordinance to be adopted, which will show an increase of both the conditional and an increase on the micro in order to accommodate some of the requests that were already been made. So this is what that's about.
If I may add, that the Cannabis Board also recommended to add another retail license to that, and also is going to ask the council to relook certain zone changes to add for more opportunity for more locations. So if we could put that on the next work meeting to relook at zoning for discussion. I know it's not on here, but
Shouldn't we discuss it here right now to see if we want
Well,
to
it's not
go
on
to
here.
that point?
well, we could
Well,
vote to
I
discuss
would
for next
suggest,
meeting, but
Mayor, if anything, is to discuss it when the particular proposed ordinance comes before you. So at least you have something in writing to address.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's not a problem.
But we did add another retail license. Well, we
So
didn't
once
add it
it
yet, but
comes.
the recommendation's coming
Yeah,
from
once-
the Cannabis Board.
Sal, what do we have right now in terms of 2 dispensaries?
We have, Mayor, at this particular time, by ordinance, we have 2 agricultural, 2 wholesaling, 2 of everything. We have nothing with regards to conditional, which I think it is the intent to put 2 for that. We have nothing for micro, which is intent to put 2 for that. So there's limitations, what I believe it should be, but eventually these limitations are up to you, because you are actually the final say on what the borough should have.
As far as optics and exposure, the dispensaries, naturally, that they'll be exposed on a highway or a designated area. The micro, the same? Is
It's
that
the
correct?
same, they have to comply with zone areas.
Right.
And all of the borough has been laid out of where these zones are.
Correct, correct.
And it's the zoning officer who will certify
Right.
that the requested license is within that zoning area.
So if we were to add, what you're suggesting is that we add 2 micro and 2 conditionals?
It's from what I understand, the ordinance is going to request.
Ordinance is going to
The
request.
amended ordinance that you're going to receive from the Cannabis Board and the Cannabis Attorney.
Okay.
It's going to recommend 2 micro, 2 conditional, and 3 retail.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then,
Once it comes at the next meeting, you will have that,
right.
and you can actually address it and discuss it.
Can we discuss it now? Is it?
You could if you want to, but I think it's a little premature.
Well, I just want the council to be able to walk away and think about it.
Councilman Fasolo, can I ask you a question? So instead of 2 retails, you're going to 5 or just going to 3?
No, it'd be going 3, 1 more.
1 more.
Because we're essentially capping ourselves out early in the game. So
Okay.
we just want to hold on to that
Okay.
one.
I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not 5, it's 3.
My opinion about that is, I think we should, being that socially, this concept has a negative connotation to start off with. We're beyond that, though. It was legalized by the governor, and we're accepting it here. I think we should sit tight with the 2 at this point, allow it to breathe, allow us to see what type of a reaction it's going to have to our community before we start increasing something that we just established. That would be my opinion on that. I have no problem adding on the micro and the conditional. That seems fair, although that would put 6 dispensaries in these 2 zones. But to add another retailer on top of that, dispensary on top of that, I really think we should sit, let it simmer, let's get some feedback from
Mayor?
the community.
Why don't we wait till we get the formal request from the board and the attorney, and then our police chief will be here also.
Very
Because
important.
that's very important to have him here, to
Yes.
see how he feels about that.
Yes.
Because he has to manage everything in town that could potentially go on. So I would feel more comfortable waiting for the proposal and waiting for the chief to also be here for that discussion.
So just another comment. We're moving to, well, we recommended to 3 because we're essentially capping ourselves out. We had a lot of interest, and if it does go well, it's not that we're essentially just going to fill all these spots right away, just to give ourselves options. That was the thought of the board. We already essentially are going to recommend another company. We voted on that. That's going to come up the pike as well. But if we stop now and then it does go well, it doesn't give us the option to add another one, which it's going to be a great revenue source for the borough.
We could always add another one.
Well, we're going to give ourselves the option if the council
Well,
decides. I mean,
let's do like the councilwoman said. Let's,
I agree.
let's get the police chief involved in this and take it from that point.
Okay, moving on to departmental reports. We have item 5A, Board of Health meeting minutes from March 14th, 2022. Any discussions or questions? Then we have item 5B, Millennium Strategies Report through May 2022. This is the report from our grant writer. Any questions or discussions? Item 5C, Library Board meeting minutes from February 28th, 2022. Any questions or
Yeah,
discussions?
just a statement from me. We concluded that we're going to wait a little while in terms of dedicating the building to Mr. Mola and a grand opening, and that's just so that we have enough time to do it right and classy. And that was the will of the board that night.
Okay, next we have item 5D, Building Department Monthly Report for April 2022. Item 5, any questions or discussions? No? Item 5E, Finance Department Report on the monthly budget. Any questions or discussions? Okay, well, Mayor, that concludes my portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Shanae. It's that time again for those council reports, and we'll start off with Councilwoman Ballesteri.
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Dennis?
Just quickly, sorry. The other day we had the Board of Ed meeting. Our Board of Ed voted on a 0 budget increase for the upcoming year. That's good for our town. This Monday is the middle school is hosting a marketplace of our student entrepreneurs. They'll be selling their items in the middle school gym at 5 p.m. Encourage everyone to come out and support our new entrepreneurs in Elmwood Park. Last Thursday was Take Your Child to Work Day. I kind of stopped by there and I enjoyed entertaining the kids. We had a lot of interesting conversations and show and tell, but it was a great day. I came last, but I did see them come up to our stands and pretend to be us. And they really enjoyed that and played with the microphones. And I understand early in the day they had a nice vote and they voted for 0 school days, pizza and ice cream every day, and no homework, I believe. Extra recess, excuse me.
No soda in the fountains?
Yep, no, they said ice cream and pizza every day. So it was really nice that the borough did that event and the children that were here really had a great time. And I just wanted to thank Shanae for her great party planning because she did a fantastic job entertaining the kids and setting up Borough Hall for them to be here. So thank you, Shanae. And just lastly, we had our Spring Festival this past Saturday, and while I thought it was a fantastic event, I've got nothing but great feedbacks from various businesses I've been into lately and residents who had a wonderful time on just a great Saturday afternoon. So hopefully that can be something that we keep here in Elmwood Park. Other than that, progress, Mayor.
Good words. Mr. Golombek.
Thank you, Mayor. I just too want to commend everyone involved with the street fair. I think we're doing a lot of great events. We're adding new things, and it's all positive. I was very happy to see that event happen and looking forward to what else the committee has up their sleeve. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Golombek. Councilwoman Pellegrini?
Yes, a couple things, Mayor. My Board of Health update, the free rabies clinic will be held Wednesday, May 11th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Firehouse Number 4 on Mola Boulevard. For any questions, please call 201-796-1457, extension 600, and their next meeting is Monday, May 9th at 7 p.m. My police update, the Junior Police Academy 2022 will be held from July 18th to July 29th, ages 10 to 16. Applications are now available with a return deadline date of June 20th, and you can pick up your application at police headquarters. The Residence Assistance Program update on Sunday, May 1st, a ZES student volunteer group did a townwide cleanup for our community. Over 40 volunteers were on hand for the task. We truly appreciated all their hard work. Also, a big thank you to our police department for helping us that morning and for their continued support with our program. Also, that same morning, we had a food drive for the People's Pantry. The RAP committee members would like to thank everyone that stopped by with a donation. It's because of all your generosity that we are able to continue to help so many in need. And lastly, I also want to say the Spring Festival was just amazing. Everyone had a great time, everybody was socializing, and it was just a great day for all. So we really appreciate all involved. And then, the mayor mentioned this before, the passing of George Luke. He worked for our borough for 21 years. I served on the Board of Education with Mr. Luke for many years. He was an outstanding family man, an outstanding resident of our community, and he will really greatly be missed. George really tried so hard to always make things better, and we all can't wrap our heads around that he's no longer here with us. And, you know, we just hope his family hears this. We're praying for them to get through this difficult time, and George will always be in all of our hearts. Thank you, Mayor Prodi.
With that, council, a moment for George, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Sheridan?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all,
Would you-
the street fair was good. I mean, everybody enjoyed it. There was a lot of people, a lot of people. I mean, it was very well organized. Tanisha, that was a good idea. Everything worked out perfect, except we were up in the grass, but that's okay. That's all right. We ran out of room. The homeowners, the next meeting will be May 24th at 7 o'clock. Their next bus ride to Willow Creek is May 27th. The bus leaves at 10 o'clock from the rec center. Reserve a seat, call Linda at 201-966-7694, and all the proceeds come back to the town. As far as the seniors go, May 11th, they're having Mother's Day ice cream. May 17th, they're having the blood pressure screening, and then May 17th in the afternoon, they're also having the Price is Right game. You have to pre-register for that. And just a friendly reminder, we had our Memorial Day parade meeting. We have another one next week. Everything's moving along. The parade is going to be huge. There is a lot in the parade this year. I mean, after 2 years. And also, just a reminder that we are still doing the benefit Thursday, June 23rd at 6 o'clock for the Vietnam Statue Memorial. It's a beefsteak benefit. All the proceeds are going to the monument. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Good report. Council President Fasolo.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to bring up a youth committee update where we have been working hard in getting ready for our treats for troops. We're actually having a collection of items, and what the youth committee is going to do is in honor of Memorial Day, they're going to create care packages and send them all to the troops. They're going to do it at the parade, and they're also going to do it here from the 9th of May until the 31st of May. Collect goods, and then after we collect all the goods, we're going to put them all in the boxes and ship them out to the troops. That should be nice, a nice little surprise for them. I want to commend everybody involved with the Spring Festival. It was a great, really, really great event. I haven't seen Market Street that packed in all my life, basically. So kudos to everybody involved there. As I was at the Spring Festival, some of the sports people came up and they were saying how everything's great. They have a good number of people that want to get involved, but there's one issue. After COVID, expenses and inflation have gone up, so struggling families can't seem to afford to join our sports programs. One example that I was given, a flyer from Saddlebrook, said that flag football in Saddlebrook costs $75 per child, where in Elmwood Park we're charging $225 per child. So in looking to reduce costs and raise participation, right now we're giving our sports teams $12 stipend per child. We were giving them $25. I'm not sure why we lowered that at the time. I don't think I was on the council, or I'm not sure who was on the council, but we lowered that. I'm proposing that we look into or vote to raise that stipend back up to $25 per child to raise participation and reduce costs for our children. Again, Saddlebrook was $75 per child, it's outstanding, and we were $225 per child for flag football. So if the council agrees, maybe we could look into that and raise that stipend back to where it was at $25.
May I say something quick? Yes, originally it was 25, and then each year, the prior rec director dropped it. I think it went to 15 and 12.50. I think it went down to 0 at some point.
Yeah.
But then the struggles, we went back up to 12 or 12.50 now. But I agree. I know we mentioned last year, or what was it, the year that we started it up to, that we would look at bringing it back up. So they could help those, especially those that really can't afford to play.
And yeah, and the major cost they were saying was the insurance costs and the equipment costs that have staggered. So
That's what caused the rise?
Yeah, the insurance cost, the equipment cost, and it's crazy how Saddlebrook, and I know they do a stipend as well, but Saddlebrook was at $75 and we're at $225. That was like,
Yeah.
to me, that was crazy.
I think what we need to do here is to get the rec director involved. Of course, this goes into their trust fund, am I correct? That those monies there, and see what his take is, contention is on this, and then take it from that point.
We also mentioned at the next board rec meeting as well.
Yeah. And if we can get, maybe get a letter from him, or have him come to our next meeting, and then we could take it from that point.
So we can get it on to the next meeting?
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay, we can ask him for next meeting today.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Fasola?
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, let me say to you, at the Spring Festival, I got to reminisce here for a second, though. It's always was my wish to have a street fair over all these years, and we almost had it done with the previous rec director, where we were moving Community Day onto the street, but it didn't happen. But I must say that this council and the mayor and the events committee, all working in synergy, and the end results is when we work together, it was the festival. I mean, it was gigantic. It was, and that's going forward. Community Day's got to be verbatim. It's good work. She does a hell of a lot for that. I'm not singling her out, but I often say if you can admonish someone, you can praise them also. So you'll get a. Now, I don't want to have to buy you a bigger hat.
I brought one today.
Did you? Okay. But that's.
Put it on your back if it doesn't fit.
That was, to me, it was very rewarding for all the years of, Community Day, as a matter of fact, at one point was gone, and we resurrected it step by step by step. And now this is the combination with cooperative people, everyone on the same page, and that's what you get. And just another side note on George Luke, I'll just say one word about him, Prince. Okay, may I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
So move.
Anyone from the public here to speak on any item they care to? If not, I will close the public portion. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a 2-minute pause here.
Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss litigation/legal reports, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. Yes, press stop. No, under pause.
So this gentleman's here for a reason.
Yes, he is.
He's not a heckler.
Yeah, he's just a hassle.
He's not going to tackle anyone. So, or slap him.
Oh, I couldn't find it.